Hello, my name's Lucy, and today we'll be talking about As I Lay Dying by William Faulkner. The visual representation I chose to connect to As I Lay Dying is this painting titled Motherhood by Leon Goupil. So, right off the bat, the tone and the mood of this piece is very somber. The walls are a sad beige color, the home is dimly lit, and there's no vibrance in the painting apart from maybe the woman's red hair. And when we take a look at the subject, we can see a young mother sitting in a chair with her 3 children. And so one is standing pressed against her, holding her hand. The other is clinging to her, kind of holding around her neck, and the other is in the woman's arms. And so the focus of the children is towards the mother, and you can see, especially with the boy on the left, he is looking at his mother with love, but then when we look at the mother's face, she looks bitter and angry, and she's not even looking at the children. And so possibly she could be looking into the distance at nothing, or maybe another person, maybe her husband. And this painting depicts the role that women are forced into in marriage and their obligation to give their husband children, even if that isn't something that they want to do. So this painting can be used to look at a lot of the parts of the book, but the part that I found the most similar to this painting was in Addie's chapter when we're hearing from her perspective. And so I have a quote that reminded me of this painting. On page 174, it says, "Cora would tell me what I owed to my children and to Anne's and to God. I gave Anne's the children. I did not ask for them. I did not even ask him for what he could have given me, not Anne's. That was my duty to him, to not ask that, and that duty I fulfilled." So when I look at this painting, I think of how Addie feels treating her children that she doesn't necessarily not love, but she doesn't have the connection that she wishes she could have, because she knows that these children are practically items that she feels that she's in debt to, or she's obliged to give to Anne's because they're married and because that's her job as a woman, to give him children. And it explains why Addie has such a different relationship with Jewel, because he was born out of an affair. He was something of her will. She wasn't forced to have Jewel by Anne's. Okay, so now we will move on to the first quote that I chose. To give context, this is from Vardaman's point of view, and this is immediately after he sees his mother die, so this is his reaction to that. "Then I begin to run. I run toward the back and come to the edge of the porch and stop. Then I begin to cry. I can feel where the fish was in the dust. It is cut up into pieces of not fish now, not blood on my hands and overalls. Then it wasn't so. It hadn't happened then. And now she is getting so far ahead I cannot catch her." This reaction is very interesting because his thought process is very different from the rest of his family at this point in the book. At this point, Cash is still thinking about the coffin, and Anne's is now thinking about getting new teeth to benefit himself, and Dudell is focused on her pregnancy with Leif. But Vardaman is seriously disturbed by this. He cannot stop thinking about how his mother is a fish, and this is because he's being confronted with mortality at a pretty young age. He is the youngest in the family, and they aren't a very functional group of people as a family, so there really isn't anyone to guide him through his grief at all, and he is having to figure out this idea of death and existence all by himself, and for him, the only way he can understand this traumatic experience is seeing his mother as not fish and not blood. Next is my second quote, and this is on page 232 from Cash's point of view, right after Darl sets fire to the barn. It wasn't nothing else to do. It was either send him to Jackson or have Gillespie sue us, because he knowed some way that Darl set fire to it. Okay, so this quote was pretty shocking, and this whole reaction in general, because the family decided as a whole to send him away, and then afterwards there wasn't much response to it. It kind of was as if nothing really happened, and I think that this decision of theirs clearly shows the values of the family, and that is that reputation and the work that you have, the money that you make, is more important than relationships or your family. Because once they knew that they could have been sued, there was really no hope for Darl, and it was automatically assumed that they would be sending him away. There was no question about it. And this follows the theme that we've been talking about of their utilitarian lifestyle. And so now that Darl isn't useful anymore, and instead he's causing disruption more, he's no longer needed, and they let him go